What is up, everybody? Welcome to Front and Center Ice, presented by Run Pure Sports. I'm your host, Jay Suzargo, joined as always by Nateify.
What on, man? How we doing? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, man. We got Tanner back on this fine Tuesday. How you doing, man?
Doing good. How's everyone going?
It's great here, great here. Matty Ice could not be with us today, so filling in again, we got the myth, the man, the legend, Jared. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm taking over for Forsberg on Tuesday. It's Jared
Right.
Tuesday
Oh,
now.
I love it. So I've been without Wi-Fi all morning, but real crappy morning here, so I'm a little behind on the slate. But luckily, I got you guys to help fill in the gaps. Pretty solid weekend of hockey, if you caught any. I know a lot of y'all were wrapped up in football. Incredible weekend of football, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Tanner, man, did you watch it? You're a big hockey. Are you mostly hockey, or do you do it all?
Mostly hockey. I mean, I watch football, but I'm not into it as nearly as much as I am with hockey. I hit a few just on the Bills there. There were some easy picks. I got like plus 450 on what's the Skylar Thompson to throw over 1.5 interceptions. That seemed like the easiest bet of my life. So, but no, I'm definitely more on the NHL side of things.
Anything stuck out to you this weekend? Anything really grab your attention on the NHL side?
Nothing really. I mean, Detroit kind of, crapped the bet on me to ruin a nice parlay I had there against Columbus. But beyond that, no, just some, in my opinion, some chalky matchups. We get a really nice slate of games tonight. I'm just glad we don't have, 15 of them to go through. We get a nice, manageable 8 games. So should be able to fly through this one, get some good ones going.
Right as everybody starts rolling in, don't forget that like button. We do appreciate it. As Tanner said, shorter slate than we normally have on a Tuesday, but I think it's a really good one. I'm excited to talk about it. So we'll just jump right into it. First game on my slate, we got the Anaheim Ducks. They're doing a little tour of Pennsylvania. They had Tanner's Penguins last night. They gave them some work, and today they take on the Flyers, who are also coming off of a back-to-back with Boston. So, Nateify, I'll kick it to you, man. Just initial thoughts on this game. Where are you headed with this one? Do you even touch it, given how both these teams are playing right now?
Yeah, I mean, so looking at my coveted matchup sheet here for members over on the Run Pure Sports website, this game has a lot of bright green, which bodes well for fantasy. The only issue that I have here, especially for Philly, is they kind of put their lines into a blender here. So they have a lot of madness going on in terms of their line shuffling and correlation. So it gets a little bit tricky there in terms of correlation and line stacking there, but it's hard to ignore this spot for Philly. I mean, the Ducks give up over 40 shots per game on the road. Philly's been the 4th best home scoring team as of late, last 5. And they're taking top 5 in the league in shots per game, up around 36 a game. Same thing, power play matchup, very good here. Anaheim is okay on the penalty kill, but they give up the most penalties in the league. So it's really tough here for me to ignore this spot for Philly. And I love it a lot on the DFS side. The only issue is correlation. So I'm looking more towards power play correlation here and hope you get lucky with a goal or two at full strength, right? Sometimes I do kind of like that. You grab a power play correlation and you got a couple different guys on different lines, right? You increase your ice time as well that way for your overall roster on the DFS side, right? Because you just have more players on the ice at more time. So that helps a little bit. Not the ideal, right, way to build a lineup, but it's hard to ignore this spot. So you definitely have to have interest in these Philly guys. TK Konechny is the story of this team. He is up at 8,100, which does make it tough here. But I mean, he's showing almost 50-point upside on the year, and now he gets a matchup against these Ducks on a back-to-back, who took Pittsburgh last night to overtime. Tanner was about to have a heart attack. Two roommates on the left there.
I'm sure it was a rough night.
Two roommates on the left there were about to have a heart attack last night, but it was a perfect sequence for me on the DFS side because I full stacked line 2 and then threw in a 4th piece in Jake the Snake to get some power play correlation there. And he went from 2 points to 18 points in the last minute and 30 seconds with an assist with about 20 seconds left, right, to send that to overtime. And then obviously quite the sequence in overtime to go coast to coast and pot one to win the game, which was nice on the DF side. But yeah, I mean, Philly's great plays. On the flip side, I mean, you can play these Ducks. One call out for sure is Trevor Zegras is plus 210 to score on DraftKings. I like that quite a bit. I mean, he's on a tear right now. These Flyers have not been good on home ice in terms of not allowing goals, right? They're allowing over 4 goals as well. So every one of their home games has kind of been a track meet. And you get Urson in that as well instead of Carter Hart, it looks like. So I like that quite a bit for the Ducks and could see this game shooting out a little bit here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with Storlaz and net for the Ducks, the Flyers should have a field day, should have the good opportunity to bounce back from that shutout last night. I mean, it's pretty wild that even when the Penguins aren't on the slate, Tanner still gets to talk about them. So, Jared, before we get to you, I'm going to toss it over to Tanner. I'm just going to ask you to defend your team, man. I mean, I'm a huge Ducks fan, so I had an eye on that game. And going into it, I expected an onslaught. Like, Penguins should have slaughtered these Ducks. I knew Raquel.
That's usually when they let down the
my
most.
lineups because I knew he'd get nasty facing the Ducks again. So, I mean, what do you have to say for this team?
I mean, there's battling some injuries right now. I mean, they're still missing Petrie, Letang, missing Jari, and that's obviously hurting them. You know, we have a nice creative nickname for Casey DeSmith in the Discord and the playbook there. But yeah, I mean, they're starting to get guys back. I think they're going to start to get better. I mean, Paling and Petrie are both coming back. Jari practiced today, so you know they should be a little bit better moving forward. They're going to Ottawa soon, so we'll see how it goes there. But yeah, they've been a tough watch.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, because the thing is, too, is while points and record-wise, the Ducks are not the worst team in the league, but they are honestly the worst team in the league. Like, they have no talent, very little redeeming factors. Like, it is the Trevor Zegras show, and that's all they got.
Hey, don't say they don't have any talent. Come on.
Zegras
is one of the
biggest
young studs in the league. But yeah, they're too deep on the team. But they can still score. I mean, this Mason kid has been good. I'm not even going to pronounce his last name because I butchered it last time. So I'm just going to do Mason McTee right there. He's top line center, skates with Terry and Henrique. So I like him quite a bit too. I mean, he's got a cheap price point, and like I said, these Philly guys are not brick walls in that, especially with Urson.
Man, we got Tyler in the chat talking smack about yesterday's NBA rundown. But Tyler, this is front and center ice. We're here to talk hockey, not basketball. You don't have to remind me of my losers on this show. Pay him no mind. Jared, man, what are your thoughts on this game? Round us out.
Yeah, this might be like a basketball game. I think there's gonna be a lot of points being scored.
I like it.
This one, I like the over in this one for sure. It's sitting at 6. I think that's definitely possible with these two on a back-to-back backup goalies. I think that's a pretty fair, easy bet. I agree with Nazify. This is hard because this is definitely a spot you want to go to, especially with the Flyers on home ice. But as he mentioned, with Torts putting his lines in a blender, I mean, I think they saw almost like 20 different combinations in the third period last night of all these players. One guy that I definitely like tonight is Owen Tippett. He's been shooting the puck a ton the last 5. He has 20 shots in his last 5 games. And the one thing is he did stick with Morgan Frost despite all of the different combinations they threw out there. So I think a really, really cheap duo is a Frost and Tippett here. They both get power play time. They're on different power plays, but their power plays are all over the place, so it's kind of hard to get that correlation as Nazify was talking about. This is definitely going to be one that I'm going to wait up until, when they start to release lineups. Hopefully they'll keep them the same, and I'm going to base it off of that. And I think, as Nazify mentioned, I think Anaheim, their first and second line are both definitely in play here. I wouldn't do it on a main lineup if you're just playing one, but I think, if you start to get to that 3 to 5 lineups for some contests tonight, I wouldn't mind taking a stab at one of them.
Yeah, just I want to call out my guy Nuggets here in chat. Yeah, Cam York, that's a good call out. He's super cheap there, and I also like Tony D a little bit here too for Philly. As it states now, he should get that power play correlation there with Zegras and on that second power play, which probably sees more based on the talent would see more ice time in my opinion here. just because I think it's a better unit than their top unit. So that's definitely a good call out there for him. He's cheap, so you can definitely give Cam York a look too.
Love it. And then DJ, man, just want to quickly, I love the Ducks. I got my Ducks Funkos and pucks over here. I'm just saying their talent starts and ends with Zegras. They got a long ways ahead of them before they start being relevant again. Good coverage on that game, boys. We'll keep it moving though. Next game I got on my slate: Florida Panthers heading north of the border, take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Panthers, they're a plus 150 dog and over under sitting at 6.5. So given the way Toronto's been playing recently, might be a good look. Tanner, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a tricky one. The Leafs have been, a little worse than they were starting the year here. They were a shutdown defensive team, allowing like 1.5 goals a game here. I mean, it's tough to say just what they can do on home ice. It always depends on what Matt Murray you're going to get in net for them as well. Mm-hmm. So I think, I don't know if they quite get to 6.5. Like I said, I could see this game popping for, it could be like a 6-2 or 6-3, like explosion game. Or I could see the Leafs just shutting it down. It'd be like a 3-1 type game. So it's really tough to kind of get a read on them here. I mean, they give up, the one thing with Florida is they do give up a ton of shots. And Austin Matthews, you're getting, it's not great, minus 155 for him to have 3.5 shots here. But if you want to go a little further down, like Michael Bunting, you're getting plus 105 for him to have over 2.5 shots. I mean, he's playing on that top power play. He's with that Matthews line, unless they put their line switched around too ever since Matthews came back.
Yeah, I'm seeing it the same.
Is it still okay? So then, yeah, I mean, I like him here. I mean, I know DFS wise, he's definitely one of the cheaper pieces as well. So it's just, I like him. Something like that. It's just hard to get value on something like this. I mean, if anywhere, just being on home ice, I definitely lean towards the Leafs just because Florida hasn't been great on the road. I mean, they're doing some things right. They're getting, over 3 goals a game but they're just, I don't know. They're taking almost 4 penalties a game. They're allowing over 3 goals against on the road. So it's hard to say definitively one way or another how this game's going to go, but I definitely lean towards the Leafs on this one for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't deny that record at home, 15-3-3-1. If there's a spot for them to get right, it's here, especially facing Bobrovsky. Jared, man, you got any plays on this one?
Yeah, I think Toronto is a great play tonight. They're minus 115 on the 60-minute line. I think that's a great bet. I mean, you're either going to get they still haven't confirmed it. You're either going to get Bobrovsky on a back-to-back, or you're going to get Alex Lyon, who is an AHL goalie, and last time we saw him in Charlotte, he gave up 5 goals. So he's not a good player, and I think it's possible that they do run him out tonight. We'll see. Toronto won. I mean, this is pretty obvious. They're in a great spot. I like Matthews, Nylander, Bunting. I even like Morgan Riley and maybe a 4-man stack. Toronto, I wanted to like Florida too a little bit. They've been averaging 3.8 goals per 60, and the league average is 2.7. And their shooting just hasn't matched up. They're only shooting 8.5%, which is definitely going to go up at some point. But then the problem is, are they going to get the shutdown matchup? Toronto, too, has been only allowing 1.7 goals per 60 since adding Cal Youngkruk. So I think it's just hard to go to Florida here. I think Matt Murray is definitely interesting because Florida does shoot a lot here. It just depends on what type of Matt Murray you get here tonight. But, yeah, I think loading up on Toronto 1 is definitely in play.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. And then our favorite bet is, of course, I'm playing on this one. First period money line for Toronto as Florida's playing back-to-backs. And then that first period over should be good here, too. I mean, looking at this matchup, you would already bet that anyway. But with Florida playing the back-to-back, that's free money. Nate's probably rounding us out, man. What's your looks on this game? Anything different from these boys?
Yeah, so a couple questions in chat here, my guy, We the People. Yeah, I'm with him. I'm actually going to be off Toronto 1 here and more focused on Toronto 2. A reason being is Barkov is likely going to be majority of the time on that Matthews line. We just saw it back in Buffalo, and they were on the road. Even though Toronto can dictate the matchups here, it's Florida just has a way to throw Barkov line out there and just chase these top lines around. That's why I got to give credit to my guy, Matty Ice, my counterpart there, for pointing that out last time. I think it was Sunday, actually, or Sunday or yesterday. Yeah, it was actually yesterday, I believe, against Buffalo. They held that Tage line to really nothing, and Florida 2 was the one, or Buffalo 2 saw a little bit better matchup there. So I like Toronto 2 here. Tavares is on an absolute heater right now, so I'm with We the People there. I think he's a great play. He's 6,400. That's super cheap for him. I mean, he's shooting the puck over 5 times per game last 5. Mitchell Marner, same thing. Marner has great history as well here versus Florida. And Jarnkrok is a nice cheap filler to make that line stack there. So I like Toronto 2 quite a bit here. They're cheap. And yeah, I mean, this is one of the 5 spots that we'll talk about here for Tyler and the other bettors here in the chat. I mean, this has been a printer all year. You target the road teams that are on a back-to-back with travel heading into, obviously now here, Toronto. So give me Toronto's first period money line or puck line and give me the first period over here. Very rarely are you going to go 0-2. Best case, obviously, you go 2-0 on those bets, and I mean the middle there is 1-1, and you're not going to lose money. It's been a printer. There's 5 spots that we'll talk about here on this slate, and then just to hit on our guy RXC here in chat, first time playing hockey DFS. So if you are a Run Pure Sports member, come hit us up in the Discord. I can kind of talk through it a little bit, read our playbook that gets posted every single day, and take a look at our core plays. You'll see kind of how we're construction. But typically what you're looking for is you're looking for stacking because each goal typically has 2 assists tied to it. So the method kind of behind that, right, is you want to stack the goal scorers, right? So you get 3 guys that are getting a piece of that goal and points there for DFS purposes. Typical stacks are like a 4-3-1, 3-3-2, something like that. But I use that more as slate dictating that how I build my lineups. I don't really have a set in stone rule on that. Every time I'm building a lineup, it's 4 from one team, 3 from another, and a 1 off. So it kind of depends on the slate. But that's kind of a high level, super real quick overview for you. If you do not have a subscription, head over to runpuresports.com. Code NADES515 will get you 15% off that first month, and come check us out. And we can help you out and hopefully get you some winners and get you to stay too. So that's kind of high level overview there. But overall, I'm off Florida here, and I like Toronto too quite a bit.
Real quick then, before we move on to the next game, Kerfoot, you were hot on him towards the end of last year when he had that nice streak. He's been real cold recently, though. I don't think he's recorded a point in 6 games, just 1 assist on the calendar year. Do you like him here to get going, or do you need to see production out of him before you go back to that?
So he got demoted to the 4th line, which I don't like, especially being at home. I mean, he's seeing right around 14 minutes a game. He does get second power play run, but he's just been bad. He's not shooting the puck. He's not blocking shots. He's not really doing much for you. So you're really kind of just throwing a dart at a wall and hoping to hit the bullseye and grab a random goal. So on a 8-game slate where there's pretty juicy matchups, pretty cheap guys, especially on a team that we'll get to later that we'll talk about that wear maroon jerseys. But I'm not going to go back to Kerfoot. We kind of rode him there for a little bit, called his anytime goal scorer at 3-1 and stuff like that. But my guy Chunky, you had a nice night last night in hockey. I don't think you need to be diving down here to Alex Kerfoot on the slate.
Fair enough. We'll move right along then. Next game I got on the slate, probably the most evenly matched one, is the Minnesota Wild visiting the Washington Capitals. For those who watched Saturday's show, I did call the Ovi goal, saw that one coming. He did got shut down on Monday against the Islanders, back at it today, home against the Wild. Pretty good options here we've seen from both teams on the DFS side. I know Matty Ice, he always likes to get those Wild picks in when he can. Capitals always present some good options. We'll go back around the horn, snake it with Nades the Fine Man. Where are you at on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really love this matchup, to be honest, too much from a DFS perspective. I mean, these price tags are up there, and I think both these teams play each other pretty tough here. Washington's obviously going to see some of their top guys are going to see that Eck line. one of the best defensive lines in hockey. I say it every time, but it's true. They kind of just they're suffocating on defense. They do a good job. Dino does a good job at playing the matchups as best he can, even being on the road. Can you play a Krill the Thrill? Absolutely. He's one of the best wings in the entire league. Obviously, same thing with Ovechkin. I don't need to tell anyone that they can play a 812 goal scorer any night. I mean, Ovi's always can be in play. Hasn't had the best history against Minnesota, but that's again because Dino is so good at playing those matchups. So I don't know if I get to him on an 8-game slate at 9,200. That's pretty steep. He could obviously burn anyone. He's dropped 40 a couple times this year already. So don't really like this game in DFS. Both teams have been limiting goals against. Gustav looks to be in that. He's confirmed, I believe, for Minnesota here. Does look like Lindgren's going to be in that for Washington here. So give me Minnesota in this one, I think. I know it's not really a good bet. I mean, they're only minus 130, but I still think they can win this one here, even being on the road. And not from a DFS perspective. I don't really like much from a DFS perspective. Maybe Jared has something that he can pull out of here, but I don't think you need to target this on an 8-game slate.
Jared, before we get your opinion on this game, let's get you to answer Tom's question, because I do like, DFS, or Run Pure, I should say, hasn't been huge on hockey recently, kind of the first major show we got going here. So love seeing the new people coming in, helping out the rookies. So be new to the NHL, heads up, head-to-head, double up in GPPs. What's the score you want to be hoping roughly to win these games?
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on the slate. Obviously, with a bigger slate, you're going to see higher scores. Smaller slate, you might see lower scores. I think, once you hit that 100 threshold, I think that's a pretty good range. I mean, I'll let Nadesify correct me. I usually am in GPPs and qualifiers, but I would assume that 100 probably is the number you're shooting for.
Yeah, I don't play cash too much, but my counterpart and the lead hockey guy over here, Matty Ice, him and I work tandem together. He kind of kills the cash. It's just kind of his mind works that way. He can just figure out what's a solid, really floor build. But yeah, I would shoot right around, 100 points. Typically, GPP scores on an 8-game slate are going to be anywhere from 130 to who knows. So typically 130 to 140 is a good spot in GPPs. You're going to be making quite a bit of money there, mostly unless there's severe underprices and things like that. So shooting for 100 and really look at, especially on DraftKings, you really want to look at floor players that have shot upside and block upside for sure because of the bonus, the way scoring works for DraftKings. So a player can shoot the puck 6 times a game and not score and outscore another player that just found a random goal. So you really want to find players that are playing a lot of minutes and are active when they're on the ice is typically a good rule of thumb, and stick more to that mid tier. You don't really want to go up to the top end guys too much, just because then you have to punt a couple spots in your teams, and that just lowers your floor. So we put a cash score up on the site every single night. It's been an absolute printer. We've the last 2 weeks here have been absolutely crushing contests on DraftKings. So head over and you can check us out there as well.
Oh, appreciate it. Jared, man, getting back to this Minnesota Capitals game, are you with Nadesify, or do you got some plays you like in this one?
Yeah, I am. This is one of those games that I keep on finding like a good lane to go down, and then there's something that like makes me jump off that lane. Washington won. Obviously Ovechkin, as Nadesify mentioned, always one-off potential. I think the problem with him tonight, though, is if you're going him, then you're avoiding a lot of the other great spots that you can stack up, because I would not stack Ovechkin. Strome and Sheary have just not been shooting the puck enough. You might get lucky tonight, but I just am not going to focus on that. And then on the other side, Washington has been great on defense over the past couple months. They're getting a lot of their guys that are really great defenders from their forwards back, and they're slowly, building themselves up. They'll probably send the third and fourth line out against some of the top lines on Minnesota, and they're great defensive lines. I wanted to start to look at the Minnesota power play, and then I saw, Washington has only been really giving up 2.1 power plays a game. Not enough for me to get interested in going to Minnesota's power play. So, I think this is just a fade for me. I want to like the goalies because I think it's going to be a low scoring game, but they both scare me as well. But I think going Lindgren is probably the safer route since Washington's so good on home ice.
Fair enough. All right, Tanner, man, these guys I don't have much on this game from DFS side, so I guess it's up to you and I to give the people some action on the betting. Personally, the thing that jumps off the page to me is the under. It's been hitting pretty well for both these teams in the last few games. Great goalies in between the pipes. What's your take, though?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think this is going to be a pretty, mellow game as far as goals go. I definitely think I lean more towards the Wild side just because the Capitals are on a back-to-back there, and the Wild have a few days of rest there. But, I mean, you're getting minus 135 for them. I think that's a little too generous, Vegas, or that's too heavy of a favorite, in my opinion. I don't think the Capitals should be, plus 115 dogs on home ice here. So, I mean, if you want to pick a dog, Capitals all the way. But, I mean, I think the best play here, like you said, is definitely the under. Both these teams just can shut it down. There's really nothing that jumps off the page for me as far as these teams go. I mean, the Capitals, like Jared said, just don't give up penalties. They don't really take penalties. It's just everything's shaping up as many, it's hard to say a game might be a dud when you have Ovechkin and Kaprizov on the ice, but I think this is definitely going to be like a 2-1, 3-1 type game.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I completely agree with that one. And then what's cool is that 60-minute money line is plus money for either side. So if you got an inkling towards either team, not great payouts on the money line, but if you grab that 60-minute, decent money can be made there. Anything else, Dan?
No, should be a good game all around. Just not great from a betting perspective.
For sure. Those typically make for the most entertaining games to watch. You can't really find an edge. Next game on my slate, I got the Winnipeg Jets visiting the Montreal Canadiens. Canadians are a team we talk about a good bit as just a team that's not worth talking about. Kind of just should be a walkover for Winnipeg in this one, looking at it on paper. Tanner, am I missing something here?
No, I don't know how you don't take the Jets in this one from every angle imaginable. I mean, they're scoring at a decent pace, but the big thing here is just Montreal. They take 4 penalties a game. Winnipeg's power plays at 31%. Montreal's giving up 4 goals a game. They're getting Montembeault in that for Montreal, and they're going up against Hellebuck, who I know hasn't been the best on the road. But, I mean, he's still, in my opinion, a top 5 goalie. Even on a bad night, he's still a top 10 goalie in the league. So, I mean, right now you're getting, even money for the Jets puck line. I'd be hopping on that one while you can. I just don't take puck lines when you're not getting plus money for it. But beyond that, I think if you really want any value here, you got to start going towards that first power play there. I mean, Kyle Connor, you're getting plus 140 to record 2 points. You're getting some of these guys just have to record a point here. I mean, Josh Morrissey to record a point is minus 215. That just shows you how lopsided the Vegas thinks this game's going to be. So, I mean, there's just not a ton of value in this one. I mean, even team totals for Montreal, if you want, you want plus money on this, you have to go all the way out to over 4.5. So I don't know. It's just a gross game as far as, any value whatsoever here. Even Hellebuck under 2.5 goals against, you're getting minus 150. So it's just, I don't know. It's a tough spot to find anything betting wise. Like I said, go puck line here and get it while you can get even money for it. But beyond that, it's just tough to find anything. That first power play should hammer it home.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Here's what I'm considering here. Monbelt, alt saves, 31 plus is sitting at plus 104. Winnipeg averages about 32 shots on goal. Of course, it's going to get quite a few buy-ins, so that does make it a bit of a dicey play, but expecting that average to be a little bit higher. Playing this horrible defense, you like it, or is it still just a little too risky given how many saves Montembeault could actually have?
Yeah, I don't hate the number as far as, shots coming his way, but yeah, I don't trust Montembeault to make all those saves. Winnipeg, they're averaging, right now, right at that number, basically like 29.4 shots exactly. So, I mean, you're right at that over-under. So, I mean, if he lets, 3 or 4 by, I think he can. I think he has a hard time getting there. If we had RPS hero Jake Allen in that, a different story. But I don't know if a monster truck there can get that one done. I definitely think it's viable, but I'm not quite sure I get there.
Cool. Fair enough. I like it. I appreciate the input. Nate's fine, man. What are your plays on this one?
Yeah, this is one of the smash spots of the slate. Obviously, when you talk bets wise, right, and you can't find too much value, that's likely going to mean it's a good DFS play. Just because obviously, if the betting lines and the betting markets are not giving you a lot of value, right, that's because they kind of see it how I see it going, and I see Winnipeg kind of smashing them here. That PLD line with Ehlers and Connor is just an absolutely incredible matchup. That's probably my top stack of the night. But it's not as our guy, We the People, he's a sharp dude in chat here. He's always in all the chats. We appreciate him.
Oh yeah,
he loves it. So that's not groundbreaking news, right? That PLD and Connor and Ehlers is a top stack of the night. It's probably going to be very popular, but I mean, Montreal is just woof. They're bad. They're not good.
And they're so beat up right now, too.
Yeah, they kind of give Anaheim a run for their money for worst team in the league. I will admit that.
Yeah. Monster Truck's allowing 3.6 goals per game ever throughout this year that he started. One thing I did know is my guy Kirby Doc here. He's been playing well, and I just pulled it up. I believe he's +3. Let me see. Let's see. +310, some right around there. Hold on. I think he's +3.
310.
Yeah, 310. So +310 on the goal scoring. He has 2 goals in his last 3 games. Has 2 goals in his last 3 against Winnipeg as well. He's 4,100. Sees top power play work. So if you really want to get bold and kind of grab your balls, as Faxman likes to say, 310 right there. That's some pretty good value. I mean, he's shooting the most per game on this Habs team, which really isn't saying much, but I mean, he's right around 3 shots per game. So maybe one of those finds the back of the net and the Jets win 5-1 or something here. So I don't mind that. And I mean, any of these top 2 lines here from Winnipeg, you can't really go wrong with any of them. I do think the Scheifele line is going to be more popular just because of their price tags, and they're playing well as well. Perfetti and Wheels there are cheap. Same thing with Scheifele. He's cheaper than PLD by $800. So I think more ownership goes that way. So I'll just zig when everyone else zags and go with the more talented line, in my opinion, with Kyle Connor and Ehlers.
Fair enough. I like the breakdown. Jared, man, whether you got different do a different opinion on this one, or are you riding with Nades of Pie? What do you got for the people?
Yeah, I think it's impossible to go different here. One note for sure is that Dodge moved from that first line. They sent 3 guys to the IR today.
So they got 9 guys off the roster.
So he'll be down on 2, and their numbers have been much worse on that first line with Dodge off it. Just going to Nate Spy's point of how well he's been playing. And I think it's possible that they might double shift the hell out of Suzuki and Caulfield, and they might get exhausted. And it looks like they're probably going to go 7 defensemen. We'll see what they decide at, right before the game, and it said 7, so we'll get their full lineup. But yeah, Winnipeg one's in such a smash mud. I don't need to talk too much about it since Nate Spy already did. I love the power play. I think something interesting you can do, because they're going to be so high owned, is you could take Kyle Connor and Ehlers, and then instead of doing Dubois, maybe go Scheifele and hope that he's part of their power play correlation, as well as
Morrissey.
I think it's a thing to watch for always is I always look for who's going to be on the ice for empty nets. I'm not saying this game's going to be close, but if there's a chance that it's 5-3, 6-4, Mark Scheifele will be out on the ice defending, and he's going to have a really, really good shot at getting that empty net goal. Winnipeg's been the gods of empty netters this season. They have the most by far, I'm pretty sure. So you could see a situation where, maybe Dubois gets an assist or two, but Scheifele might score a goal there at the end and pass him, and then you have that power play correlation instead of the first line, and that makes you a little bit different. So I like that route a little bit.
I like it. Fair enough. Anything else anyone wants to add on to that game before we move along?
Should be good.
Okay, right on. Next thing we got here, Columbus at Nashville. Another interesting one. Two teams playing on back-to-back days. But again, another horrible team against a team that's been playing very well this season. Pretty chalky here, but I don't know. Maybe you guys got something else, a little different perspective. I hate going so chalk, but Jared, I'll kick it back to you. What do you got on this one?
Yeah, I actually like Columbus here. So I would probably go to the money line for them. And I think someone was talking about it earlier in chat. I think Columbus 1 is sneaky. I wish they would have put Boone Jenner up on the first line. He's played 2 games back off injury. But I think that first line's still great with Roslovic. I think Roslovic and Goudreau are super cheap. I think they could be a good 2-man stack. Obviously, Line A is always in play as well, so you could maybe go even a 3-man stack. When they're together, they're actually pretty solid defensively. Roslovic and Goudreau, we know Line A is not a good defender, but he definitely gets helped out by those 2 guys. So I know everybody's going to go to Nashville here. It's Scoresburg Tuesday. But I think I'm actually going to fade those first 2 lines. I think that's the sneaky way to go. I always roll with chalk from a higher price standard, and then from the lower price, I'll try to fade chalk where I can. And so I think flipping over to Nashville is interesting here. If you are going to go Nashville, I think, it feels really, really gross, but I think Ryan Johansson and Nino Niederreiter might be an interesting 2-man stack. Niederreiter gets some power play time, so I definitely like him here. But yeah, I'm going to try and get different. The numbers aren't going to necessarily back that up, but sometimes you got to just take a stand.
Fair enough. No, I like it, man. I like the different perspective. So with that being said, though, you taking a shot at that Columbus money line? Are the Blue Jackets leaving town with a win?
Yep, for sure. I think it actually just bumped up to plus 180. Yep. And I also like Goudreau to score at plus 225. I think I saw on DraftKings. So I like that double for sure.
Yeah, I love Niederreiter too from a betting perspective. He came through with my prop on Saturday. That number's still sitting at 2.5, so another great play in this one. Looking for him to get 2.5 off. Easy play. He put up 3 on Monday, 5 on Saturday, 6 last Thursday. He's really getting involved in that team. So absolutely great look there. Tanner, man, what do you think? You think Columbus leaves Tennessee with a win, or Predators, they're going to keep rolling?
I mean, I think the Preds do take this one on home ice, but to Jared's accord here, I do think this game could be an overs game here. You're getting minus 110 for over 6.5. Like I said, Laakkonen isn't Saros. Everyone knows that. I mean, he's a solid goalie. He has decent numbers, but with Boone Jenner back in the lineup, I mean, Line A's playing very well. Hat trick the other day. Gaudreau's still one of the best players in the league, in my opinion. Like, they can still put numbers up. Both teams on a back-to-back, definitely. Might be some tired legs out there, but I do like that. But to go to the Nashville side of the thing, we were kind of talking about this before the show. Columbus is one of the worst teams against defensemen, and Nashville has Roman the Great on their team. We're getting plus 275 for him as an anytime goal scorer. You're giving me that type of line for a guy who can play at the level he's playing at. That seems almost like a cruel joke. I mean, he's one of the best defensive, if not the best defenseman in the league. All the Makar fanboys might be butthurt about that one, but he's just such a good player. Plus 275 on him. I don't think you can go wrong there. And I mean, I think we're obligated to say Forsberg is plus 105 as a goal scorer today. So that's always on the table. Yeah, that one's always on the table. We joke about it constantly, but the numbers support that one through and through. He just, for some reason, scores an absurd amount of goals on Tuesdays, something in the air that day. But yeah, I do think the Predators take one home here, but I could see this being like a 5-3 like type game, something like that. I don't think the Predators are quite gonna. I think it's gonna be closer than most people are thinking, or maybe not. Jared, he seems to be on the Columbus side, but I think it's gonna be closer than most people are giving the
like
Jackets credit for.
I like the takes. Yeah, I mean, just one of those things too. I mean, Columbus is just a team kind of been waiting on all season to really pop, and they got the talent. They just can't put it together. So it'd be cool to see something happen here. And Nashville's a team that it absolutely could happen against, as they've been extremely hot and cold this season. Nate, to fly around the South, man, what are your opinions on this one?
Yeah, it's going to be chalky here, but it doesn't mean that I hate Columbus as well. I do like Columbus, but obviously so. I mean, that price tag on Gaudreau, Johnny Hockey, is kind of a joke. So I think he's going to draw a decent amount of ownership actually here. I think, especially with Lincoln and that. So my route, if I'm playing Columbus here, is to go to the Boone Jenner and Gustav Nyquist line. And just that two-man stack there, they both get top power play correlation. So you still get pieces of Gaudreau and Line A there on that power play. So I like that quite a bit. Jenner does have good history as well. Obviously, I'm a history guy. I think it's both done well for me on anytime goal scores this year. So I like that. Even on the DFS side, for some reason he just plays well against Nashville. I don't know what it is, but and I do think Boone Jenner is one of the most severely underrated players in the entire league. He's a stud. Obviously, it's tough with him just returning from IR. But he's got 2 games under his belt now, one against Detroit, one against the Rangers, who Rangers are a pretty good hockey team. So now faces Nashville here on the road. This is another bet spot for me. I know Nashville's on a back-to-back as well, but they'd stay home, so there's no travel there. Columbus is coming into Nashville with travel, so give me the Preds first period puck line and the first period over here. Like I said, I do think there is goals in this one, so I think those are both pretty good angles to look at here. And then I can't get away from this top power play here from Nashville. I mean, the numbers just support it. Columbus sitting at a 65% penalty kill, give up about 3.5 penalties per game. And Big Juice, Parsnips, our guy, is playing absolutely incredible. He's still under 4K. I don't know what DraftKings is doing. He's averaged right around 15 to 20 DK points in his last 5, and DraftKings has literally not touched his price. He's now bumped up to the top line to center that Forsberg line. And people are going to watch the game logs on Forsberg, but I watched the entire game last night because obviously Nashville was my core stack, which did well because I hit the goals. I had Parsnips in there. But Forsberg hit 2 posts. So, I mean, his game log's much different from a 4.5 DK point in the game if both of those go in and don't hit the pipe. One of them, goalie was completely crashed to the left side. He went far post and obviously just a little bit too much, hit the post. So I like him here. Obviously, it's no surprise, right? Forsberg Tuesday, blah, 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 but the numbers do support it. And if he didn't hit 2 posts last night, I would say maybe I look elsewhere. But, I mean, he's firing the puck. They almost lost that game last night, even though they won it, right? 2-1. It was kind of a barn burner. Saros had a stand on his head towards the end of the game, especially in the third period. He was getting peppered with shots. Kadri almost scored multiple times, and Juice kind of just stoned him every time. There was a goal that got called off because Toffoli kicked it in. Unlike Maher, he did make the field goal. But yeah, it's hard for me to go against it. And Roman Josi plus 275. I called it last time. I'll call it again this time. I don't see him not scoring here. He's got a goal in 2 straight games, against Columbus as well. Everything points to him. He's just firing the puck. He's shooting almost 6 times per game as a defenseman. He is 8,700. So you are paying a price there, but it helps when you got Juice and Duchesne. So Duchene's under 5K and Juice is under 4K. So that power play 4-man there with Forsberg is a nice little stack. And I don't really know how much ownership Nashville really gets, especially on a back-to-back here with these other teams, especially Winnipeg. Edmonton's getting Evander Kane back, so they're going to draw ownership being at home. So I think I'm going right back to the well here with Nashville. And if I do go Columbus, it's more Columbus 2 with Nyquist and Jenner.
Right on.
And Chunky's play here in chat. Ekholm's playing great. He's got a good price tag, does get second power play run, so I don't hate him. You get a significant discount off of Josie there, and he's always been known to score the puck too. I think his prop is like close to plus 800 for a goal scorer. So if you really feel frisky, you can throw half a unit or something on that at plus 800. But I really do think it's this power play one and top line for Nashville that does the damage tonight.
Right on. And then worth noting too, both these teams playing on back-to-back. Columbus is traveling though. Nashville stays at home. So first period over, incredible play, and I still like seeing Nashville's first period. I'm pretty big. I got double units on that one, so that's worth mentioning there. Next game up is the Sabres in Chicago. A man that has me and Jared on the cusp of full tilt is Tage Thompson. He's almost always good for a goal, almost every game. If you bet it 2 games in a row, you're almost guaranteed to get paid out. This man has now gone 5 games in a row without a goal. We were on it Saturday, didn't come through. I believe I'm on a huge today. I'm just letting it ride. But Jared, man, what do you got? Are you riding with it?
Yeah, I'm rocking with it. I mean, I think you got a plus 112, right?
Yes, sir.
On VK, it's minus 105. That's screaming to me. He's a must play if you're playing on DK. I think he's definitely potting one. Interesting. I'd toss a little bit on the plus 850 for first goal scorer in that game. I like that for sure. I think he comes out hot. You know, the hard thing for DFS is that the line is expensive. You know, if you're going there, you're going to be stuck in a zone where you're going to end up playing somewhat of the same cheap plays. So you'll probably have to go with, you know, a Philly cheap stack, which most people are probably going to go with if they're also doing Buffalo. So you're going to have to get very different if you do go with Buffalo one. One interesting thing is they have been on a little slide recently. They've been struggling, and there was a brief mention that they might split up that line. So I would keep attention to Discord for that lineup, because I think it is possible that it changes. But I think no matter what, like, this is a great matchup. I mean, we've been picking on Chicago all year long. Their penalty kill sucks. So I think that power play is in a great spot. I even like Dylan Cousins. He's been a great play, especially from a floor perspective. He's been awesome. So I even like throwing him in there as well. I just think it's pretty hard to get away from this spot. So if you're doing multiple lineups, make sure you get at least one Buffalo.
Right on. I like that. Nadesify, man. So Chicago took on the Kraken on Saturday, and we were, of course, on Seattle's puck line. That came out, but holy crap, what a start to that game. For those that missed it, Seattle scored, I believe it was 6 goals on their first 7 shots. It was a wild one. Wild scene in Chicago, too. My friend's a beat writer there, and he was saying that after that point, the crowd went absolutely nuts for every Chicago save. They came around, though, made an interesting game. So they have firepower. We saw that. They won the 3 games prior to that, put up 5 in a loss. So any reason is there any Chicago plays from a DFS side, knowing they probably won't win, but they might score some goals?
Yeah, I'm going to grab my nuts here and grab the Chicago money line.
Okay.
I think Chicago wins this game. Mrazek's in that, which he's better than – I mean, he's still allowing over 4 goals, but this Buffalo team is kind of in disarray right now. If I look at the numbers on the road, they're not the same road team that they were. They're sliding. They were averaging over 5 goals per game. They're down almost to 3, right around 3.5, but they're 26th in the league in shots for on the road. So they're just not shooting the puck as well. I mean, We the People is too sharp here. He should take my spot on the panel because I do like Cousins as well. If I'm going to Buffalo, it's going to be with Dylan Cousins and maybe grab a guy on that top line. I mean, Tage Thompson has absolutely killed Chicago, so that is my one worry. So, I mean, if you really want to get different, grab a double center build in Cousins and Thompson. They both have power play correlation there as well in that top power play. But I mean, all three games that in the last game that Buffalo played Chicago, it was 4-3 Buffalo win. So they played them to a 1-goal game. And the two before that these two teams met, obviously different teams and different players and all that. Both of them were a 1-goal game too. So this Blackhawks team just must play these Sabres well. And Patrick Kane is back. He dropped 23 DK points, something like that, his first game back. And Seth Jones. So I don't mind a Domi, Kane, Seth Jones stack at literally no ownership. Seth Jones is plus 550 to score. I don't hate that. I mean, that's some pretty good value. He's playing well right now. Same thing, Patrick Kane playing good. So I do think these Blackhawks, which is kind of crazy, but it's just a gut feeling. I think they can win this game. I mean, I haven't been impressed by these Sabres. Likely they'll probably drop eight goals tonight now because last time I played them, they got shut out. But I don't mind it. And then one call out for Buffalo side, Olofsson is what we like to call him, Victor Olofsson here. He has incredible history against Chicago. So I like his anytime goal scorer as well. And I wrote it down somewhere here, plus 250 on DraftKings there. So that's not bad. So overall, I think there is some DFS plays in this game, but at the ownership that Buffalo is likely going to see here, I'm probably going to be off of them. And I have a couple different lineups in the main contest tonight. One of them is probably going to have that Chicago 3-man stack with Kane, Domi, and Seth Jones, just because I do think they can get some goals here. The Corpse Anderson is in that for Buffalo, so that helps Chicago as well, in my opinion. But it is tough because Mrazek has been bad, as chat has pointed out. But hey, you're not on here for me to give you the chalk plays every single day, right? And just tell you to bet every favorite and etc. So I think Chicago can pull this one out. I really do.
I love it. And then for those that don't have the cojones to pull the trigger on that plus 160 monitoring line, I think another way to play that would be the over, because I don't see the Blackhawks winning in like a 4-1 fashion. Do you, Natify? It's got to be a shootout.
Yeah, correct. So like if I look at their last game was 4-3, 3-2 before that, 5-6. So like it's almost always been a 1-goal game, and all of them but one have gone over the total of 6.5 that it currently sits at now. If you can find it at 6 somewhere out there, maybe check on Abated, and obviously you can see all the lines. If you can get it at 6, that I would love that over for sure. 6.5 makes it a little bit more risky, but I don't hate that as well.
I'm seeing, I'm not seeing anything across my.
So if you're running it back.
Huh?
If you're running it back, would you go Cousins?
I would go Cousins, or Tage. I mean, a Tage one-off is not going to be very chalky, right? Because they're going to want to grab that stack. And I mean, I looked at the history of the other two guys, and it's not that great. Obviously, history isn't anything, but I mean, Tage has gone 5 straight without a goal, right? He was in contention for the I forget what the name of the trophy is, but basically the best player in the league.
Hart.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in contention for that. Obviously, he's slumping a little bit here. So if I'm running back, it would be with him. But, I mean, it's tough. I just don't like these. The Sabres here. One call it too. Taylor Radish is playing incredible right now. He's 3.1K on top power play. So you want to talk about a stack that has 0% ownership. Throw Domi, Seth Jones, Radish, and Kane on there. And, I mean – Buffalo games have been known to shoot out, and you could literally be the only one with that stack and flying towards the top, especially if you're only playing a couple lineups. So I don't hate that at all.
Right on. Tanner, help me out here. Jersey points out that'd be quite the play. And all the books I play, though, I can't do NHL parlays. Is that an NHL thing, or am I just using the wrong books?
No, you should be able to do over with the let's see.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find one that doesn't let me do anything, any type of NHL parlay.
Sometimes they do like the quick same game parlay. Some of them have it. I don't know. My stuff's taking forever to load right now.
I'll mess around with it. And
I've done it before.
Tanner, you give me your play on this game because I was liking the Sabres. Natify is making a real good case for the Blackhawks. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't totally disagree. The Sabres just stink defensively, especially on the road here. I mean, the Blackhawks aren't, a superstar team, but they can still get it done on home ice. But I mean, like we said, Tage Thompson has been in a bit of a rut here. I think, the Tage Thompson show's coming to town. Getting 1.5 or for over 1.5 points, you're getting plus 165. That's probably my favorite play on this. I mean, you can only keep a player like that off the score sheet for so long. And he's due for an absolute explosion. I mean, I think he blew his wad a little early against Columbus that one night where he had a 6-point night or whatever. So I think, and maybe not quite that tonight, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him, 2 goals and an assist here. But I definitely lean more towards the over than just outright winner here. I definitely think this game shoots out a bit. Like I said, Buffalo's just been atrocious defensively. They're letting up 37 shots against on the road right now. They're a very offense first team. And, like Nate's was saying, that Patty Kane line, Patty Kane's still Patrick Kane. If you give him chances, he's going to light you up. Taylor Radish has been playing well. Max Domi, not exactly a superstar, but I mean, he can still play. So I definitely like the over here. We like to call him the corpse of Anderson in that. He stood on his head here and there, but how often can he do that before, his joints start to give out? So being on home ice, I definitely think he could snag the Hawks here at plus 160. Not sure I take it, but I like the over here at minus 115.
Right on. Yeah, Jersey, I don't know, man. It won't. I'm going to go over to game parlays. I see it plus 370. Such a crazy payout. For some reason, when I just click the plays, it won't. So, yeah, that's an option. If you really want a crazy long shot on the day, I love it. Nate, do you want to answer We the People there?
Yeah, so We the People, I mean, Jonathan Toews he's just a tough play for me personally. He's just not. I'd rather at a cheaper price play Radish, right? That has the same power play correlation. Still, he's on that second line, obviously skating with Toews or Toews. But yeah, Toes.
Hey,
I never go.
Longest time I thought it was Toes.
Yeah, I never go a show without mispronouncing the name, but
Nades, we don't want to hear about your fetishes.
Yeah. But yeah, I would probably not play him and just go with the 4-man if you're playing it, like I said. And you will see that 4-man in one of my lineups for sure.
Right on. Okay, 2 games to go. A reminder, we are presented by Rum Pure Sports. Please hit that like button. Helps us out. Feed the algorithm. And we are pumping out all sorts of content for you if you're new to Run Pure. A lot of our DFS stuff is mostly behind a paywall, so you got to be a member. You can check us out. Code NADES515 get you 15% off. But there's also tons of free content. If you check out the Run Pure website, Tanner puts out free articles. I put out free articles. So lots of stuff you can get in if you kind of want to see what we're about before throwing down the money. And then as a reminder, man, my favorite part, though, about Run Pure is our Discord. So we got a Discord. All the guys super active in it. All 4 of us, Matty Ice, tons of other people. So whether you got a DFS question, betting question, you just want to talk hockey, there's always someone in there, no matter the hour. So we appreciate y'all being here. 2 games to go. This one, I don't think we need to spend much time talking about. Detroit Red Wings at the Arizona Coyotes. Nadesify has all of us on Arizona at home. He's always preaching it. Their last home stretch didn't go quite as well, but I think it's a solid rebound spot here. Seeing them at plus money, you still rocking with it, Nadesify?
Yeah, absolutely. It didn't work out the last 2 times, but they're on a 9-game losing streak. Now they get a nut matchup in Detroit, who is absolutely abysmal on the road, allowing 4 points, over 4.5 goals per game last 5, which is absolutely incredible. And Arizona is a much better team at home. I mean, they're 7th in the league in scoring last 5 on home ice, have a good power play. And these Yotes have good history against these Red Wings. I know I'm the history guy, I'm the numbers guy, but it does well for me. It's been profitable. Jacob Chychrun, I don't know what his prop is anytime goal scoring, but I think he's scoring a goal, at least one for sure tonight.
Plus 310 on that.
Yeah, so plus 310. I mean, that's ridiculous for a guy of his talent. Obviously, he wants out of Arizona as well, like every other player should, because it is a dumpster fire franchise. But I mean, they're playing in their little college Cracker Jack Arena, right, with 5,000 people in there that go absolutely nuts for these Yotes, and I think they win this one. I like that third line quite a bit in Hayton, Keller, Schmaltz, and throwing Chitra in there for the stack. All which is very rare, right, for Arizona to have power play correlation, but that whole entire line is all on the top power play as well, which makes it very nice. And like I said, they do have a favorable power play matchup. I mean, Detroit gives up the 6th most penalties on the road in the league last 5, and they're killing at a 68% rate, which is not very good. And these guys have been good. Keller is I think Keller's going to go on a little streak here. He played a good game with a goal last. He obviously they lost 2-1 Winnipeg, which is a far superior team. They played Minnesota 2-1, so they're playing good hockey despite the 9-game losing streak. And I think they get a win here because on the flip side, Detroit is not great. The price tags on Detroit are still cheap. Larkin is still cheap. What's his face? Rasmussen is still cheap as well. Bertuzzi did get demoted to the second line, it does look like, but he's still cheap. So you can grab some fillers because Arizona does give up goals on home ice here, and it does look like Ingram is going to be in that instead of Veggie. So I don't hate that, but I'm on the Yotes, that third line, top power play for sure here, and I think the Yotes money line is a great bet.
Right on. So last week, Detroit had an impressive win over Toronto, but they followed it up with a loss against Columbus, a loss against Colorado. Tanner, man, are the woes going to continue? Or are they going to take another L against another subpar team?
Yeah, I'm always on the Yotes here too on home ice, and it seems like the rest of the world is too. This morning when I was looking, you could get the Coyotes. I believe it was plus 125 for money line. Right now you're getting plus 110, so that line has shifted quite a bit already. But my favorite play here with both backups in net. Neither team's good defensively at all, and both teams can score goals here. You're getting even money for an over at 6.5. That's already shifted up from 6, so I liked it more at 6. Obviously, I still like it at 6.5 for that even money there. Both these teams are giving up. Detroit's giving up almost 5 goals a game. Arizona's almost at 4 goals a game. Both teams give up a decent amount of penalties. Both teams have a terrible penalty kill, so I just expect this game to kind of be. I'd expect it to be busted wide open here. Like if this, I wouldn't be shocked. This is like a 5-3 or even like one of those like 6-5 type games where the teams just refuse to play defense and goalies just are out to lunch here. So I definitely think the Yotes have a great chance of sneaking the win here, but the over is definitely where I'm looking on this.
And if you like the Yotes to blow it up, shoot, I'm not seeing that. I'm trying to pull up the alt total while I do that.
Grab Yeah, so this is another one with Detroit on a back-to-back with travel heading into Arizona.
First period.
First period Yotes puck line and first period over in goals. Same thing in the last game that we talked about. Grab the Blackhawks first period puck line and first period over as well. Because, this rule is just not rule, but basically strategy has been doing well all year, and it just continues to be a printer. So I like both of those.
I find this line, Jared, man, you give us your thoughts on this game. Give us a play or two.
Yeah, I definitely like the over as well. As Tanner was saying, one worry with the Arizona first line is since Hayton moved up there, their shot rates have been going down a lot. I don't know why that is. Like Keller's shooting less. I wanted to. He's over 2.5 on DraftKings for plus 120 in shots. I liked that until I started looking at game log since he's been placed with Hayton, and that worries me a lot. I think this could be an interesting spot to go back to Detroit after their big letdown. Everybody and their mother and grandmother played Detroit Red Wings on that slate, and they let down. And so I think this is a nice bounce back spot. It's Connor Ingram. I know we do the Yotes on home ice, but they've struggled a lot. I think they've lost 8 games straight. So I'm not scared to go with this Detroit first line. They're cheap. They're still some of the same prices as we were going to play them on the last slate in a good matchup as well. I think this is a prime bounce back spot for them.
Right on. Found that line. Incredible play here. Arizona Coyotes, if you want that minus 1.5, you can get it at plus 240 on DraftKings. It's a pretty fantastic number. Especially if you're looking for a large plus money play on the day. One
call that I did forget to make on the Detroit side, Jake Wallman is a 4.1K D-man, and he is been absolutely incredible. He's out shooting DeLarkin right now for this team, and I really love him. He plays zero defense for a D-man. He's an offensive-focused D-man, so if Detroit is playing with the lead, I like him less. I think Yotes win this game or are leading in this one, so I like him even more. He's 4.1K, I like him quite a bit. And to we the people, I mean, this guy is just sharp, but Fabry there too. He's got a nice price point at 4.2K, shooting right around 2 times per game. Has decent history as well, whereas Arizona in a goal in his last 2. So don't mind him as well. But yeah, I mean, either way, both sides are viable for DFS in this one.
Yeah, I did want to mention Wallman and Mo Sider there. Arizona is one of the worst teams, ranked 27th against defensemen right now. So guys like that, they're getting a ton of shots in from the point. They're giving up a ton of fantasy points to defensemen. So I think, given the price tag on those guys, I definitely think you can go there.
And they played 2 defensemen on their second unit for the power play. So I think all 3 of those guys, including Hronek, are all
yeah.
Cool. All right, guys, last game here. An interesting one. The Seattle Kraken head to Edmonton, take on the Oilers for the 3rd time since December 30th. But the real storyline of this one is that Evander Kane is finally back. For those who didn't see, he took a nasty injury, nearly lost his hand off the skate of Pat Maroon. But he's back. He's ready to roll. We've talked about him before. Say what you want about him as a person. He's a tremendous hockey player and a real difference maker. So, Tanner, man, is this an easy Edmonton slot, or will the Oilers need some time to find their groove with Kane back in the lineup?
I'd love to say this is a hammer spot for the Oilers with Kane back in. They're a much better team with him, but these Kraken have been on an absolute tear lately. I mean, they lost to Tampa last night, I think it was, but I mean, they set an NHL record for like winning 7, completing the road trip or whatever, won 7 straight on the road. They're just smothering teams defensively. They're not even allowing 26 shots against on the road right now. They're not taking penalties. Penalty kill's a weak spot there for them. Then Edmonton gets 4 power play chances a game. So, I mean, they could definitely bust it wide open there. I do like the over here just because I know I keep saying that a lot. And now I say that every game's going to be like 2-1 or something like that. But there's just 2 teams that can get it done. We always say how the Kraken can score from literally every single guy. Even their stick guy gets a point at some night. So it's tough to call that from a DFS side. So it makes me really like the over here. I mean, Campbell's Chunky Soup's going to be in that for the Oilers from what I'm seeing. And he has been the worst of the 2 with him and Skinner. Skinner's been significantly better. I think we're getting Martin Jones in that for projected so far. I mean, he's got a decent goals against, but his save percentage is sub 90%. That's kind of like the benchmark for goalies here. One thing I do have to mention, though, I mean, the away team has won the previous 2 matchups of this series so far, both of which have been blowouts. The first one was 7-2 Oilers, and the second one was 5-2 Seattle. So, I mean, sticking with that trend, you can go Kraken plus 155 on this. But I do like the over here. The Vegas likes it too as well. I mean, you're getting minus 130 for over 6.5, but I definitely think it's viable here. I mean, both these teams can absolutely light it up. We know what McDavid does when he comes to town. I guess it's his hometown now, but what he does when he's on the ice, and with Evander Kane on the ice, they just play so much better, both offensively and defensively. I really wanted to steal some of his props up here, but I don't even think they have him up yet because I don't think he's 100% confirmed, even though he's going to start or something. I couldn't find any at least.
I already took a flyer. I took the flyer. I took Evander Kane anytime goal scorer plus 160.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I couldn't find it on here yet.
It's on FanDuel. And
okay. I just have DraftKings up.
Yeah. I'll find the other one. Well, Jared, man, so like I said, I'm taking it. I took the risk on the anytime goal scorer. Did you put him in your DFS lineup today, or do you think you need to see what kind of production he has coming back first?
Yeah, I think we gotta wait and see for DFS in my opinion. We've seen a few guys come back the past couple weeks from injuries, including Ehlers and Boone Jenner recently. First game back, kind of slow, not shooting the puck as much, probably waiting for the game to come to them. I would probably take a wait and see on him. This is another situation like Buffalo, like we talked about. Like once you build an Edmonton stack in your lineup, you're going to be placed in the same place as everybody else. So it's going to be hard to get different. I think what you can do is build some type of power play stack that includes different pieces from different lines. People are going to do it, but it's going to be one of the least owned of stacks from that side. So I think going like a Nugent Hopkins with some of the big dogs could be an interesting build. So I would look more that route. I don't think this is going to be like a main team play for me. Seattle has been playing great defense. I don't trust Martin Jones, but he has looked better until this past game. I think he struggled. Yeah, Seattle's just playing so well. You know, I can see the Oilers getting there, so I'm gonna definitely have them because I'm putting in multi entries.
Sure.
So I'll have at least one power play type stack where I'm getting a little bit different. Seattle side, yeah, I know Edmonton's always up for contention of letting in goals. I had conviction on Saturday on playing the first line, which played out well. But today I just don't. And I'm not going to risk picking the wrong line here for Seattle.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's the problem with Jones too, man. You're either getting a shutout or a 5-goal game, so it is a complete roll to dice with him. Yeah, I'm not seeing any shot props for Evander Kane, which is pretty typical. When Aho came back, when Pacioretty came back, it took a couple games to get the shot prop just because they got no clue what kind of usage they're going to see. But like I said, I'll take the flyer on anytime goal scorer. Nate, if I close this out, man, you touching this game?
Yeah, give me the Kraken here. I don't know if it really helps them getting Evander Kane back here, just from a chemistry. It obviously helps them, right? But from a chemistry standpoint, they've been playing good. Edmonton's been playing great. They've been scoring with how they've been operating, right, without him. Now he comes back. He kind of jumbles things up a little bit. So if I do go to Edmonton, it's Hyman and a Leon two-man stack and Draisaitl. They just been the two best guys, in my opinion. Obviously, McDavid he's Jesus, right? He's the best player in the league by far, in my opinion. Like, everyone's going to say, oh, McKinnon. But, the stuff McDavid does is just far better, in my opinion. Obviously, they're too great, right? But he's 9.6K. Obviously, he does very well against Seattle, has killed them. He dropped 39 points without a goal, I believe, in that 7-2 game that they dropped a touchdown on these guys, but that was in Seattle. Seattle is just stifling. Martin Jones has been solid. So I'm just going to side with the Seattle side, especially because Soup Can there is in that for Edmonton. If Skinner was in that, I'd probably give the lean to Edmonton, but I think this line is kind of heavy, right? Like plus 160 for this Kraken squad, who just literally shut down Boston on home ice, the best team in the league, right? Those big three can go up against these big three in Edmonton, right? And Hyman, McDavid, and Leon, right? Like in terms of talent wise. So give me this Kraken squad, and if I'm going to them, it's just with the cheap pieces or the leading rookie of the year contention and Matty B there. One thing I did say, so I do think, I'm going to ride this Daniel Sprong heater here. You're getting plus 440 for him to score. He is on the fourth line, sees second power play work. I like these fourth liners if I'm going to him at all on the road more. He's 3,700. Don't hate that on the DFS side. Rather probably just play his anytime goal scoring at plus 440 like that. And then Ryan Donato, he's not great, but he's min price, seeing power play run. So like I said, these Seattle you talk about terrible correlation. This is the worst team in the league in terms of correlation for their lines. Even worse than Philly, what Philly just did with their blender situation. I was building the playbook and I was like, oof, I don't know what to put in here. So I have McCann, Matty B, Sprong, and Donato in there. You just basically just hoping to grab a goal scorer there and save some salary. But I do think the Kraken win this game. I just don't know where the goals are going to come from for them. So it's hard for me to play them in terms of a stack potential for DFS. And then obviously it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say you can play Edmonton on home ice, but I probably don't get there. I have 5 builds tonight. I don't think I'm going to play them because I know for a fact they're going to draw a lot of ownership. McDavid's 20+% owned every single slate. even on a 14-game slate, he's pushing 20%. So on an 8-game slate, playing the Kraken, where people look at the game log, especially on McDavid versus the Kraken, I wouldn't be surprised if he's 25, 30% owned. Could kill me, could burn me, but at 9,600, I'll go elsewhere and fade this Edmonton squad. But if I would play them, it's that second line 2-man stack, and maybe throw in a McDavid, right, or a Barry or something from that power play to get that correlation as well. So
Fair enough.
That's where I'm at.
Love it. Fantastic. We appreciate you all joining us. Before we get to best bets, be sure to hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already. So, favorite side, total props, give me your favorite bet or your favorite stack, favorite DFS play. I don't care. Just give the people something to latch onto and ride for the evening. Jared, man, we will start with you. What are you doing?
Yeah, I did this on Saturday against the Blackhawks. I just don't know why they keep doing lines like this. I'm going to go against Nadesify. I'm going minus 115 for Sabres in the 60-minute line. I like that as my bet. And then in terms of stacks, I would say Buffalo is my favorite with a sneaky lower-owned Columbus as my other stack.
Fantastic. Nadesify.
Yeah, my best bet is going to be a prop here for you. I'm going to give Jacob Chychrun plus 310 to score. He has an incredible history. I'm going to go against our guy here that do like the wings. I don't mind the wings in terms of DFS, so I like him. And then my top stack, I would say Winnipeg, but that's too easy. So that's probably my top chalky stack, if you will. And then I'm going to stay on brand here and say my favorite low-owned stack is that Chicago 3-man with Seth Jones, Domi, and Patrick Kane. Good. You compare them with Edmonton, you compare them with Winnipeg, you compare them with any of these other chalk, and literally 1/4 the ownership of your total roster construction, because no one is going to be playing these Blackhawks. Even their moms likely, but it's probably not going to work out. But if it does, I'm going to win a lot of money. So that's where I'm at. I
love it. We the people riding in with the best bet over Edmonton-Seattle game. I like that play. His best bets are very solid. So that's something for the people to jump on. Tanner, man, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jared here. Buffalo's taking over here. Tage Thompson over 1.5 points, plus 165. The man's due for an absolute hammer of a game. So I'm taking that one.
Love it. I love it.
I'd give a DFS stack, but might have been terrible lately.
Fair enough. And then I'm riding with that prop or that play I gave earlier. I was on the Coyotes with Tanner and Nadesify. Sorry, Jared. And I mean, that number's too juicy to pass up. So I'm going to take Coyotes minus 1.5 plus 240. Because as we say, scared money don't make money. Gentlemen, anything else before we close out?
No, appreciate everyone tuning in and chiming in the chat. It's been great. We love bringing you NHL content here on the Run Pure Sports channel. So we appreciate your support. We will be back Thursday covering the slate there. I believe we have NBA Hardwood show coming up here in just about 30 minutes. So make sure you check them out. Build your NBA winners. All sports, again, one price. RunPureSports.com. Code Nadesify does give you 15% off first month payment, including SaberSim, our partner optimizer over there. So with that, I don't have anything else.
Beautiful.
And kick it back to you.
Jared, thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully we see a RPS winner on the qualifier tonight. It's a cheap one.
We always love to see it.
A little cheap $20 one. So hopefully we get some people up there.
Right on. Tanner, as always, appreciate the bets. And as a reminder, go to Run Pure, check Run Pure Bets. Check out Tanner's work. He's doing great stuff. Appreciate all joining us. Straight money wins money. Run Pure, baby.